y'all. So I came over to the other side of our set here, so they're getting the shot all straight. Sitting here, chatting. Tiffany, what's up?
Bro, I'm so happy to be here. I want the audience at home to know this studio is so amazing. It's so expansive and fancy and got a fireplace. And if you will never be confused about what you played.
You got that right.
I feel like I'm in the alpha frat house right now.
Damn Skippy.
I love it. I love me some y'all, so it's okay.
You damn Skippy. Hey, Terrell, I need you to turn television around. So, folks, we are, of course, glad to have Tiffany here. There's lots of I want to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about, Tiffany, we're going to talk about your upcoming book.
Yes.
We're going to deal with that. But the thing that I got to deal right now is how sorry, trifling, and pathetic these media people are today.
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to show in a second, Donald Trump was going somewhere and said F you to a Ford worker and shot the finger at him. And I remember how these people lost their damn mind over deplorables, how they lost their mind when Biden said stuff. And this man is shameful, despicable, pathetic, how he attacks folk. And they don't say nothing. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, no big deal. And if a Democrat president said or did the things that this man does, it would be wall-to-wall craziness every single day.
Yeah, you know, I understand the desire to put a political label on it, but honestly, Ro, I feel it's more racial. Because when I say they, I mean them, I mean white people. White-run newsrooms. And it's really difficult, as you know, to be the first to say it. So often we are the first person to say, I remember in 2016, all of us were saying Trump is a bigot. And that was a controversial statement to make at the time. Well, do you believe us now? We're still saying the same things. Also, we're seeing with the capitulation of media, and so many of us are leaving the industry, being fired, being kicked out of the industry. It's heartbreaking to see. So even today, if you look across newsrooms, only 6% of reporting staff are black. So if you disaggregate that, that means even less black men in the newsroom, even less black women in the newsroom. And I'm so frustrated with it, Roland, because this is our path to democracy. This is what protects democracy, transparency. And so when I see time and time again, the media uplift and give a microphone to someone who's ill-informed, has no idea what they're talking about, who looks like us. They only do that in our community. You and I have talked about this many times. And then normalize what we're seeing happening. The core pillars of our democracy fall apart. Listen, the media has never really been kind to us or fair to us. And so often what's considered fair and unbiased is rooted in what's white and male. So this is not new to us. But when we see how it's impacting lives and livelihoods, it's devastating to witness. I'm so frustrated. I've always wanted to be the Brown Murphy Brown. And so to see CBS fall under this below average ass white woman who has no idea what she's doing. Barry Weiss doesn't know how to run a newsroom. And this is why your show, your entire career, Ro, you have always lived in service to black people and black liberation. You're one of the first people to put me on television. You give a voice to people, a platform to people. You uplift issues. So if there any black thing that's happening in America, the Ro and Ro-mobile is there. Well, and that's so important right now.
Well, and the thing is, like, perfect example. So Trump, we talked about on the show yesterday. Trump made these comments about oh my God, how the Civil Rights Act was just so bad to white people.
Yeah.
Non-story.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, no big deal. Like, okay, fine, he said it. That's it. And I'm sitting there going, y'all want to dissect that? And I was having a conversation with a host on a network. And this is what the host literally said to me, that it's so much. It's so many different things, they can't cover it all. I said, wait, I'm confused. I said, if you're a broadcast network and now you have digital, you got 24 hours. If you're a cable network, you got 24 hours. I said, I don't understand why Morning Joe and the show at 10 and 11 and at 12 and at 1 and 2 and 3 and Nicole Wallace at 4 and Ari Melber at 6 and Chris Hayes at 7 and Rachel Maddow at 8 and all others. I said, you ain't got to cover the same stuff. I said, CNN, same thing. I said, if you got, hell, let's just take prime time. If you got 6 p.m. to, let's say, 11 p.m., that's 5 hours. You don't have to cover the same shit in all 5 hours. So this idea that, oh, we just don't, it's just so much being thrown at us, is just nonsense.
I think they're centering the comfort of white people. Because even though we say echo chambers for a reason, because it is the same story regurgitated over and over, but it's also run by people who center conservative white people. What liberal networks are they talking about? There is no liberal network.
Not.
And so because he said, oh, well, it was bad to white people, the newsrooms will look at that and say, well, there's a significant portion of the country who agrees with that, so we have to be fair, we have to treat it legitimate.
This is no lie.
Yes.
I sent this book, my book, White Fear,
yes,
to a number of media folks. And an African American host of a show said, well, I would love to have you on, but my white producers don't like your title. And I said, you know I write about those same white producers in the book. I said, because they are part of the problem.
Yeah.
I said, the problem in these newsrooms is that the reason the white producers, they didn't like how the Browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. Also, I object to that. I said, so wait a minute. So I sent this person 5 stories, one from the New York Times, Newsweek, NPR, Axios, and Time. And those stories were all on the same thesis. I said, now I'm confused. How did the New York Times, NPR, Axios, Time, how do they all cover the same story, but the book is not relevant? I said, the problem we have is that white producers, white executives don't cover this stuff because then they have to actually own up to how they operate and behave inside of these newsrooms.
I agree, but also I think as the black host, your producer is not your boss. It is your face, your likeness. Like, you have to push back on that.
So I was told, that's what I was told.
Yeah.
I was told, Roland, you're preaching to the choir. I said, no, I need you to be the pastor.
Right. Like, I don't give people a pass in that sense. You know, like, you have to be willing.
And I've never gotten booked.
Yeah, of course. But other people get booked.
Right.
You know, like we have never asked Tom Brady, what would you do if you were president? But by all means, put Stephen A. Smith on air and ask him what he would do. I find that ridiculous and offensive. They don't want someone like you who actually has background, has information, understands policy, politics, and the press. They don't want that. And so it's very frustrating to witness this. And I think that's why it's important, Ron, when you talk about newsroom staff, the producers, because there is this this tendency to issue humanity to people. So white producers feel like, well, my dad voted for Trump and he's not that bad. Or my grandmother voted for Trump and I love her. They have humanity for people who don't see ours. But when it comes to somebody getting shot in the face by an ICE officer, or a black kid, a 12-year-old getting shot by a police officer for playing with a gun, we have to be infallible. Like, it has to be a complete, you have to live your whole life like you might not ever do anything wrong. We have to prove that we didn't invite our own death or play a role in our own death. And I will say the strategy is effective, because we all saw with Renee Nicole Good what happened with her. And just by enough of them saying, no, she was charging her car at that officer.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, we can't believe our eyes and our ears.
Right.
The entire news media landscape had to treat it like it was a debate when it was clear facts. Their narrative is not supported by the video we see before our eyes. So I don't really give anchors, reporters, any of them a pass. I feel like, you know, if you are in this and living in service to your corporate overseers or to yourself, if you're trying to build your own empire, then you are failing at the job. I did this job in service to Black liberation, which benefits everybody. I will lay my life on the line. There's not enough white man's money that's gonna make me abandon my people, because as you know, we can leave that world. You might be their favorite on Monday, and by Wednesday, the uppity Negro they don't like anymore. We can leave that world, but we always have a home with our people. There's nothing that's going to ever make me abandon my people in service to that. So the black host who was saying that is on some bullshit, to be honest with you. I don't buy that for a second. Like, shame on whoever that is.
And I was like, are you
I
serious?
name names. I want to name names.
Are you serious? And see, here's the thing that, and this is what I think people have to understand who don't understand these systems, who don't understand what happens in these networks. I remember when Campbell Brown went on maternity leave, and I filled it, and I filled it for 2 months, and it was very interesting because there was a white female producer, who was just incensed because I would actually raise questions in the editorial staff meeting. So remember, we were talking about Michael Vick. That if should Michael Vick be allowed back in the NFL? And it was a trip because we're sitting there, and so Claire, yes, her name is Claire, was at the wall, and they were deciding, in terms of where we're gonna place stores. And they had the magnetic wall, and it's like, well, what's Gloria Allred's daughter? Escape me. Lisa Bloom.
Yeah.
Well, so-and-so believes this, so-and-so believes this, and Lisa's a huge PETA person, so she's gonna be against it. I said, did we ask her? And they were like, well, Roland, this is Claire, Roland, we know where she's staying. I said, no, actually, you don't. I said, so why don't we ask Lisa before we assume that that's her position?
Lazy producers.
So she decided to run over me. I go, okay. So Tara Metzler was a booker. I said, Tara, can you call Lisa and ask Lisa the question? She calls Lisa. Tara, being Tara, she goes, hangs up. We've got a problem.
Yeah.
Lisa says, yeah, if he serves his time, he should be able to come back. The whole room freezes. And I said, do you now understand? I said, here's the problem. That's what y'all do to me. Y'all assume you know my position, and you don't ask me first. She was so pissed that I was assuming, frankly, a managing editor's position, that she said, I want off this show. David Doss was the executive producer of Campbell's show and Anderson's show. She literally went to Anderson Cooper's show for the 2 months that I was hosting because she said, I will not work with him because I had the audacity to actually raise my hand and state my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's lazy producing, and even if we just take ourselves out of it and just look at the landscape now, because I don't want people to think like, oh, we're outside, we hating from outside the club and can't get in. That's not it. It's a bigger picture. No, the difference is because we were on the inside.
It's a bigger picture. We know exactly. We know how people get booked.
Right.
You and I can watch a segment and we go, I know how that happened.
Right. But even the whole setup of it, I think, around 2015 when the news landscape changed, I've been in this business 25 years. I've worked in cable news a long time before I was ever on cable news. And there was actual news. It was reporting and information. And at a certain point, they felt like, oh, well, let's platform white supremacists. Let's platform liars. And let's call that news. Let's pair them with someone who disagrees with them. Put them in the ring. Let them fight. And I have to ask the audience sometimes, are you not entertained? Because this is what you all were tuning into.
Right.
You are the power broker. The audience, the remote control, you are the power broker. So as long as you watch that, even if you hate watch it, you're communicating, this is what I want to see.
So they love the fight, but we're like, time out. Are you actually listening to the conversation, the bullshit that's being spewed?
We are giving people a microphone who do not see our humanity. We are giving people a microphone who are destroying the core pillars of democracy in America, and we are normalizing it. So because of that format, we have normalized mass men disappearing people off the street. We have normalized sexual offenders walking free. We have normalized a president who cares about the Constitution, who dismisses the emoluments clause, who dismisses birthright citizenship, because cable news had such an important role to play in that, and it has contributed to the dumbing down of America along with our smartphones, and that's a really scary time.
But we also normalize lying. And there are people who are just sitting there flat out lying, and we're watching it and going, I'll never forget, it used to drive me crazy. We'd be in a situation room, and there'll be this conversation back and forth, and this person is lying. And I'm like, I'm about to correct the lie. And it's all of a sudden, or then it'll be, okay, we've got to leave it there. Or they'll be like, hey, literally I've had producers, hey, don't push that hard. I said, stop. He was lying.
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry. There's nothing about me that can allow a lie to be stated in my presence and go over the airwaves and I not say, no, that's simply not true. And so part of this also, and for so long, these networks were afraid to call out conservative liars because, oh my God, I'm going to get attacked by Fox News and Media Research Center and on social media. And so what ends up happening is, well, let's just put 4 or 5 or 10 more. I said this long ago. I said that because the conservatives have locked down victimhood. Oh my God, liberal bias. I said when I was at CNN, I said if CNN went out and hired today 1,000 conservative contributors, they would still say liberal bias.
Yeah.
You cannot satisfy because that's a part of their strategy.
They're leading them around by the nose. It's all very intentional and it's effective because we see this playing out. Exactly. It works again and again and again. But again, I have to come back to the audience. They are the power brokers. And we have seen that Black households particularly have been tuning out increasingly. I mean, with cord cutters all across and when we democratize who has a voice in media and who gets to share information and opinions, that has come with some challenges because that's how you had a rise in malinformation, misinformation, disinformation, and that has also impacted our elections, you know, with the Black Manosphere and podcast bros introducing some really toxic conversations around relationships, which also ended up penetrating our politics when we looked at some of the voting patterns in the last cycle. So this one tiny thing casts a dark shadow across many facets in society for sure.
Panelists, get ready for your questions. I'm going to come to you after this next question. One of the things that just jumps out at me, and you said it earlier, and I made this point, and I've said this directly to Stephen A. I said it directly, bruh. If you're gonna come over this side, and you're gonna start commenting, you need to bone up. You need to read. You need to pick the phone up and call folk. I said this is not. Listen, on the sports side, I've been on ESPN. I guest hosted His and Hers with Jamel. I've been on First Take several times. You know what? We can sit here and have a back and forth, throwing out our feelings and emotion about last night. C.J. Stroud, my quarterback of the Texans, why won't he run the damn ball more? Why won't he take up? Why is he taking sacks? We could do all of that. That ain't life or death. Cutting off aid to USAID, that's life and death. Cutting food support, that's literally life and death. Well, ISIS is life and death. And my deal is, if you're going to hop over here and have some life and death conversations, well, you damn bet not bring that same histrionics on the sports side over here, because this actually matters over here. And then what then happens? What then happens is the media sites will pick up the inflammatory comments and then post it, and then New York Post will post it, and then these people will post. So all of a sudden, it now becomes circular, and so now it's like, oh, let's book him on The View. Let's book him on this CNN show. I said one CNN host, I said, why did you have him on that conversation when there was literally nothing factual that was being discussed? And I'm like, we know why. It's all a ratings thing, because what they want is they want the they want all of the drama, all of the loudness. And I'm like, but you're doing a disservice to the audience. And this is the problem I have. And it's not just him. And here's what kills me, because Malcolm X talked about it long ago as well. How many white sportscasters or white entertainers do you see them going to opine on what's happening in white America? Like, you know, they have experts. They have subject matter experts. But you got black folks who are just, oh, you are a sports person, you're a media personality, you are on a television show. Dave Chappelle had the famous joke, why did Fox have Ja Rule on after 9/11? He's like, yeah, I was really going, I need to hear what Ja Rule thinks. I mean, the joke works, but that's what they do with black folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point I was making about who they give a microphone to. And quite honestly, I don't really have anything to say to or about Stephen A. Smith per se. I think, I wouldn't debate my lessers. I would teach them, but you can't fill a cup that's already full. My challenge is with the media ownership, the
Yes.
people in position who keep giving him a microphone. It's like they think to appeal to black people, you appeal to the lowest common denominator. It's either that or to make white people comfortable, you put a dumb person on TV across from a smart person. And so now you feel better about yourself because I'm not racist because I had this stupid ass on my show and asked him his opinion. And that person does not speak for Black America any more than Van Jones speaks for Black America. We are not a homogenous group. And so instead of finding intelligent people to have a healthy exchange of intellectual ideology, they don't do that. I wore a Malcolm X sweater on Abby's show the other night, which, you know, I struggle with. You know, I had really, as a challenge going on that show, sitting across from people who are dehumanizing, quite frankly.
They don't never call me.
Yes, I know.
That will never happen.
But so many people the panelists had so much to say during and I don't say anything to anybody. On the commercials, I'm like, don't say shit to me. I don't care where your kid's going to college. I don't care what you're doing for the holidays. I don't care, you know. I don't have small talk with those people. But they had so much to say about my shirt. It was the iconic photo of Malcolm X at the window with the gun in his hand. And I just thought of the ridiculousness of that. Like, you're sitting here defending a woman getting shot in the face by a masked man who was filming it.
Right.
But me wearing this sweatshirt, you can't even sit here and formulate your thought properly because you're so distracted by what I'm wearing. And that, in that set, I'm considered the controversial person.
But
Scott
they supposedly love the Second Amendment.
Precisely. But the things they say and the things that people get taken off air for, like Mark Lamont Hill, for example, you know, I do not believe Mark to be an anti-Semitic person at all.
Right.
I think he was making a point long before it was cool or okay to say I support Palestine, and he was taken off the air. But at the time, Rick Santorum would go on there and say all kind of offensive shit about black people, and they had him time and time again. If you hear things Scott Jennings says on that network, I was on air, live on air with Scott, and he was so frustrated that he couldn't answer another panelist's questions. He said, well, maybe I don't care about your stupid fucking question. How about that? Imagine had I said something like that. I would have been escorted off set.
Right.
So it's still this double standard that is so incredibly frustrating, Roland. I just can't take it. But anyway, can we talk about my book?
No, we are. Hold on a second. I got panelists. They got
Okay.
We got your book. Woosah. Randy, what's your question for Tiffany?
So, Tiffany, I'm just so happy to see you. I'm a big fan. You know, you talk a lot about the power we have as the audience, because right now it seems like the media I don't know if it ever has, accepted Black people who will speak different truths, particularly truths that make white people uncomfortable. So what do you suggest we do to use that power and to say, you know what, we won't even watch these shows anymore if you're not going to be representative to us?
Thank you, Randy, for the question. I'm very happy to share the screen with you as well. So I would say, first and foremost, support independent media. You know, Roland, for example, has this show, and people go where folks are tuning in. Yet, you know, I hope you don't mind me sharing that sometimes it's challenging to get people to come here. You know, so if somebody's running for president, running for office, if it's a good get, as we say in the business, they think, let me run to the CNN morning show, even though significantly less people are watching that show than they are Roll show. So we overwhelmingly support our platforms, like my sister Joy Reid, like our good friend Michael Harriet with Contraband Camp in print. If we overwhelmingly elevate, uplift, support, post, share responsibly, things that we see here, I think that could really shift the media landscape and stop placing value on these white platforms. You know, so many people think white is right. They think white folks' ice is cooler. And so even with Black folks, it's like you will run, you know, entertainers will run. I saw so many hip hop artists go on Ari's show, and this is no diss to Ari Melber, but you gonna go on Ari's show and I can't get you on my show? Joy couldn't get you on her show? He is a guest of hip hop culture. We are born of it. And so I think all around the audience, if you're an influencer, somebody worthy of being interviewed, I think we have to look to ourselves and start supporting our own platforms.
Mustafa.
Yeah, well, Tiffany, it's good to see you.
Hi, Mustafa.
I want to give you your flowers for all the Black folks you brought onto your show, myself included. So I just want to say thank you. The book. Could you talk a little bit about your journey in the creation of the book?
And
Yes.
folks, the book is called Love Me, A Letter to Black Women in a Toxic Country, Career, and Relationship.
Yes, thank you for that question, and thank you for having me on the show to talk about it, Ro. So the book is available for pre-order now. The official pub date is May 5th, but please, everybody, order it now. The formation of the book is, when my show was canceled, and thank you for coming on my show and being a guest, Mustafa. I love having you on. I love having Ro on. But when my show was canceled, I was so devastated. I was so shook by that because my entire life I had spent a lifetime since I was 15 years old in the field of journalism. And so to be so dismissed by my career and be attacked by a network, I didn't know what to do with myself. And then I started dating someone and I was just on cloud 9, honey, okay? I just thought, oh, well, this is some balance, if this is what I had to suffer, then he and I will live happily ever after. And then that didn't go right. And I just thought, man, my career is sinking. My heart is broken. And at that time, America decided that Black women were the face of the enemy. And I was talking about it with our good friend Van Newkirk, an editor at The Atlantic, and he said, damn, you sound like every Black woman I know right now. And so I thought about it. I said, yeah, we pour our love into this country, and it doesn't love us back. We pour our love into our men, and we don't always feel love back. And we pour our love into our careers, and our careers are certainly not loving us back these days. And so I use myself as a variable, as a tiny microcosm, and then I branch out at the 1,000-foot level. So I tell all my business. I'm being very unfiltered about things that happen at MSNBC, things that happen in my relationship, who was Roland's frat brother, by the way, but that's a whole other story, and things that happen in the...
Mustafa's an alpha too now.
All right, well, y'all got some shady people in the group, but anyway, I share these things with the intention of reflecting to my sisters that you are not going through this alone, and trying to give us some hope, because as we talk about saving America and what we're going to do and how we're going to save it, I think we have to first give ourselves something to believe in. So I wanted to give a mirror reflection to Black women to say, yes, sisters, I too am bleeding, I too am crying, but I am in these trenches with you, and I know in your arms and in your company, I am safe. And so this letter really is me bleeding on the pages. And look, I hope the book is successful. I anticipate it to be successful, but truthfully, if this book sells 3,000 copies or 300,000 copies, the one thing that I ask, that I pray for, is that Black women will tap into deeper self-love, and that I have made Black people proud. That is my only goal with this book, particularly with Black women. I hope they feel seen, and when they see me and they've read the book, I hope they feel like you did that. I felt like you spoke for me. I felt like you wrote my thoughts. That would send me to tears every single time, a lot faster than making the New York Times bestseller list or any other of the bestsellers list. It's for my sisters.
I think, first of all, you just talked about, and Randy, you're going to be able to ask a question about the book coming up next. And also, hey, I know we're going to go to headlines. Let Brittany know if she has a question for Tiffany, then I'm going to go to her too. So let me know if she has one. When you talked about the show and even the relationship, I think one of the things that I think that we have to learn, whether you're men or women, you're man or a woman, that one, a show, a job, a relationship, a church, a whatever, that doesn't define you. Mm-hmm. And I think, I love the movie The Insider, which of course was about the 60 Minutes and the whole tobacco scandal. And there's this great scene where Al Pacino is playing Lowell Bergman, 60 Minutes producer. And he said, Lowell Bergman, 60 Minutes, I wonder if my calls get returned if that's not at the end of my name. And I think that right there, I think, is an issue for a lot of people, in that they are defined by that. I'm so-and-so MSNBC. I'm so-and-so CNN. I'm so-and-so this. For sure. Where for me, I never ever allowed everything about me to be defined by who I worked for. Mm-hmm. So it was very interesting so CNN ended 13 years ago in April. And it was very interesting how I would go out and people would go, CNN. And probably after about 6 months of the TV One show, that began to wane. And then they always mixed up TV One and BET. But then it became that. And then when the TV One show ended, December 2017. It was always TV One. Probably about 6 months after this, then it was Unfiltered. And I knew this, but what it also taught me was that I'm not defined by the letters attached to my name. It's the name that comes before the letters. And that has to be a lesson that a lot of people have to accept, that TV gig, that radio gig, whatever, that sucker will end one day. But that can't define who you are.
I agree with you, Ro. But I have to say, I don't think I was, I never considered myself defined by any role I had professionally. And I don't think the nearly 400,000 Black women who are now unemployed define themselves by their job, but it is what we poured into it. It's
but
what
that's
we
what I
brought to it.
mean. I think what I mean by it is we pour so much into it, and then when it ends, it's like, well, what the hell I was doing, as opposed to knowing exactly what it was. And so that's what I mean by define. And so it becomes, someone once said to me, I am my job. My job is my life. And I said, so that job ends, does your life end? And they looked at me, and I said, no, I'm asking you a serious question. If the job ends, and the person had to grapple with that because they went, oh, I didn't realize I said that. And I was trying to get them to understand that we can be committed to a job, but
I hear you,
it's
but
not just us.
I don't think Black women feel that way, to be honest. I don't think we walk around with our company letters on our chest. Some folks do. Some folks do. We know some of those.
I've had to deal with some people and help them through that.
But our work so often, like our humanity butts up against our ambition. You know, our work so often. I mean, you think about the Black women in the federal government. Like, they were living in service. They had a role to play.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just about this was a path that's for the middle class, but it was living in service to our community. This was a way we could move dollars. We could provide goods and services to people. And every Black person I know, when we are in these roles, we're not like, oh, I'm so happy to be working at this Fortune 100. It defines me. It is, oh, I am defining my service to my community through the platform that afforded me right now. I never was defined by MSNBC, but I certainly thought I am going to use all that's happening in the country right now with this platform. I am going to use every minute of television, every time I have a microphone, in service to humanity and liberation. And so when that is taken away, and you were one of the first people to reach out to me, like, who cares? Let's move on. Get in front of a camera. Keep doing what you're doing. Come on my show. You were so supportive, but it still felt like a gut punch. It wasn't like, oh, the white man kicked me off his plantation. That wasn't it. It was, how much do we have to do to be afforded some respect? Like, I am doing, I'm working harder than most people I know. For example, right now I'm working harder than most people I know, but this basic below average ass white woman was gifted the platform of running CBS News. It's not that I'm defined by it.
Well, not just even gifted, also they bought her company for $150 million.
Precisely.
That hasn't made any money.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
I had a platform. I had 100,000 unique daily visitors reading the beat. Nobody came along and gave me, hundreds of millions of dollars to buy that. Nobody said, oh, you're smart. You've been working in this business a long time. You run a newsroom. And so I hear you. I think it's wise counsel, Ro. But with the book, I'm trying to say you have a righteous anger right now, and you are validated in that righteous anger. You deserve to feel that way. Don't let anybody talk you out of your feelings. It is not fair.
I guess the reason I never felt like caught off guard, and I've always joked about this here, that I start every job with the premise I'm gonna get fired anyway. So the first, I laugh about it, but literally, it's like, I'm telling you, like, there are people who still come up to me who I work with. We were at TV One. They were like, "You were never pissed when the show got canceled." I said, "No, I wasn't." And it was like literally, as like we're sitting in the office. You're Alfred Liggins, and you're telling me show's canceled, and while he's talking, I was already planning. So it's. But
it's okay, Ro, for you to sit in your feelings. Like, after CNN, you had every right to be upset after CNN, and you had every right to be upset after TV1.
Oh, no, hold on, but I'll tell you this here. The reality is here. I left, CNN ended in 2013. 2009, I joined 2007. 2009, I brought a sponsor to the table. Southwest Airlines was going to be the primary sponsor of a weekend show for me. They were like, what the hell? When they said they were not going to give me a weekend show, I walked out John Klein's office. I wasn't even about 100 feet, and I called Jonathan Rogers and said, they're not giving me a weekend show. This John said, okay, we're going to launch you one. But when I walked out of that office, the moment he said that, I said, I'll never get a show here. I'll always be a contributor. This was the mindset. CNN from this day is about to become my personal venture capitalist for what I actually want to do. So part of that also for me was just an understanding how these folks and how their games work and say, you know what? I'm not going to allow you to, in fact, was it quite interesting because he also wanted me to leave all of my black shit. We had lunch and wanted me to leave Tom Joyner, TV One, and I was like, why would I leave all my stuff? And he got fired in 2010. My deal was up 2013. When I left in 2013, the black stuff they wanted me to give up, I still had. So that
I
was
hear
just
your point,
this.
But you're talking about the economics and business planning.
No, how I felt. I did
But
not.
that's not how you felt. You're talking about I was planning. How you felt is I was disheartened after CNN, or I was angry after CNN. Like those are the feelings. Now, how you channel those feelings into other things is something different. But what I'm writing about is you have a right to be hurt. You have a right to be angry. You, Roland, have a right to be hurt. I mean, this book centers black women, but I hope black men read it because I think that's part of our challenge. You know, the focus on black excellence and make money and build an empire. Yes, but somewhere in that is our hearts. And I'm going to tell you, my heart was broken, okay? It was broken, not because I lost a job, but because of my life's goal to make my community proud. I felt like I failed them in that moment. My heart was broken because I was vulnerable enough to share myself with another person who was disrespectful to me. My heart was broken because after all that black women have done in this country and for this country, the country looked at us and said, fuck you. My heart was broken then and my heart is broken today. So yes, I talk to you all the time and you tell me we got to do this, this, and this. I agree. That's a strategy. But I have the right to stand in the righteous indignation of my anger and my pain. And I think we have to take a moment to feel that, to have the strength to get up another day and keep going.
And for the person who, okay, so in doing that, having a broken heart, how long did you go, okay, I got to mend and move on? Because the reason I'm saying that, there are some people who stay in that state. I dealt with a person who, working with somebody who had been broken 20 plus years ago and stayed that way and was provided opportunities and they still were stuck in that. So how long were you in that state?
So I don't like putting a timeline on how long somebody should feel.
But I think how long did you say, okay, you know what, now let me...
I'm still in that state.
Got it.
But I'm putting one foot in front of the next. I'm moving with a broken heart. Like so many other black women across the country, I am moving with a broken heart. I'm blessed to be surrounded by people like you. Ro and I are in a group chat that's really like family. We talk every day, all the time. And
argue, cuss,
yes.
Piss everybody off, love,
share.
like family do.
Yes. Yeah. But then in that group chat, there's a bunch of women and the machetes. We have our own group chat, and
they take trips and shit.
Yes.
Yeah, we see the Instagram.
But when I'm sinking in the quicksand of my life, those are the people who are pulling me through. Right. And yes, and they might be heartbroken while they're pulling me through. Like if we're gonna cry together, but we continue to work. And I just don't want people to think, oh, I gotta wipe these tears and I can't feel, I gotta swallow this down. Like, no, you can feel with that broken heart. But I take your point, Ro, we have to move as well. So I'm trying to do both.
And the only reason I asked that question because unfortunately I know some people who are still stuck and they're there and it's like, okay, when we going?
They need some encouragement.
Right.
They need somebody to hold their hand and pull them along.
And that's a thing that you can have a broken heart. You can go through pain. You can be angry, pissed off, but you can also still move. And it's okay.
Most times, but for a minute I couldn't move.
Right.
For a minute, I did have to sit in my stillness.
Randy, your question about the book, does Brittany have a question? Y'all didn't talk to me. Y'all need to talk to me. Okay, first of all, you ain't pressing the button. I can't hear you talking. So please use the microphone so I can hear y'all talking to me. I done paid thousands for a new audio system to make that shit work. Okay, Randy, your question for Tiffany about her book.
Before I ask a question, I have to first tell Tiffany that, honey, sister, you have made us so proud. When you say that was your mission, you have made us proud. I know I'm speaking for scores of us out there, and you continue to make us proud.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Two, I know when you have those moments where you realize, like, you know what? I mean, I think a lot of Black women are experiencing now, certainly I have, where you're like, I have done everything right, and still white supremacy is holding me down. Has that realization helped you to say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to write my truth. I'm going to put it all out there on this book. Because we know when we speak a truth that makes them uncomfortable, since you are speaking about, you know, your professional life too, that it could hold you back in the long run. I mean, in those traditional ways. Did it free you up a bit? Do you think that maybe you would not have been able to write so courageously had you still been in, you know, doing what you were doing?
So I have to say, I was freed up a little earlier in life. I never felt handcuffed by white supremacy. I imagined a world where my truth would be okay to profess because their truth is okay to profess. I made a point. I didn't code switch on my show. You know, they're out here, them and their kids trying to sound like us. So I was determined to sound like me. I dressed how I wanted to dress. I talked about things that I knew other people, you know, all across America were talking about. And so I was always free. And I think that was part of the challenge of why my show was canceled, because I was so free. So I would say I'm no more unfiltered in these pages than I've always been. Really, this is, I hope, an invitation to other people to be free, because I feel like if you're always going to land in peril anyway, then why not be a revolutionary? And so for at least 25 plus years, I hope I have lived my life as a revolutionary. And I think courage is contagious. And so that was the intention of this book, to give other people courage, to offer a testimony, and to validate all that we're feeling right now. Like, Barry, I don't know you. You know, we haven't been to each other's house for Thanksgiving, but I know you. And I just by nature of you being you, I know you. I know you. If you want to
go to a Black restaurant in D.C., call Randy.
Okay.
She know all of them.
And speaking of Black-owned establishments, I've been online trying to order the book, and I'm not seeing it for pre-order on Mahogany Books because I'm going to order.
It's not there, but if you actually go to pull up my iPad, if you go to hatchetbookgroup.com, HACHETTE. bookgroup.com. It is available for pre-order. So the easiest thing to do is in the search box, type in Tiffany Cross, book will come up, and then you can pre-order the book, hardcover, ebook, as well as trade paper book as well.
And audiobook.
Yes, audiobook is here as well. All four there.
But I hope people do the hard copy because I was intentional about the cover. If you combine the colors of the American flag, red, white, and blue, you get variations of that purple. And with the woman, I made it like decorative, so people would want this on their nightstands.
I want y'all to buy whatever. So
Me too, but buy the hard copy.
Don't listen to what Tiffany just said. I want y'all to buy
it however you like, but get the hard copy too.
If y'all want the ebook, if y'all want the audio book, if y'all want the paperback book, large print,
it's true.
Buy it. Damn all that.
I just wanted them to have something hard.
I feel you. Listen, if y'all don't do that, print the damn cover
Listen to Ro.
Print the cover out and hang it up, put it in a frame, but buy it on whatever platform. Brittany Noble has a question.
You know, Tiffany, I just really appreciate you for being so candid and sharing your story. And I know what it feels like to be stuck, if you will, if you had a bad situation in a newsroom and, you know, just trying to move forward. One of the questions for me is about love. I know that you experienced a little heartbreak from an alpha. Are you still open to
hey. Let's be real clear, okay? She experienced heartbreak from a dude. Okay, let's be real clear. You ain't got to say from an alpha. I mean, we got 500,000 alphas.
I do love my brothers, but for real. You know,
shit
are you afraid of opening yourself up again? Or what's
Absolutely.
your advice to us that are still looking for love?
I have never been closed. I believe in love. I am a believer in love. And I think Black women can be love's savior. I just don't think we can do it alone. But I think a part of us, this disconnect that we have with each other, that this chasm that has grown over the decades, I believe it can be repaired. I mean, that's how we have survived this 400-year nightmare. It was our love for each other, so much so that when we got off those torture chambers and got here on the shores of America, we clenched so hard for it. The skin of that love was underneath our fingernails because we really loved each other. And so I think if we don't get back to that, then we have no chance of surviving. And I know that Black folks are survivors. So I personally believe in the daunting, daring love that happens in a relationship with a man and a woman or whomever you love. And I will never not believe in that. I won't let monsters turn me into a monster, because I think if you don't have love, you're kind of a monster. It's something that's not human about you. So yes, I believe in love for sure.
Well, I think
we are certainly.
I think part of the issue, what we're facing today, this is where I do believe social media comes in, and people don't. A lot of people do not understand how the algorithms work. Mm-hmm. The reality is the algorithm is positioned for rage. It ain't positioned for love. Mm-hmm. The algorithm is positioned to piss you off because they understand how to make you mad, to make you upset, and it feeds so much of that. So I had someone hit me, and I don't know why this stuff keeps showing up in my timeline. I'm like, that's by design. Mm-hmm. You may have seen one thing, and it's about to roll another 8 to 10. They want to see if you're going to stop and watch and keep scrolling. And so many people are getting this stuff from this because we've actually stopped having conversations. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that during COVID, I said, I really hope once we come out of COVID, I said, I hope people will not go back to normal, but I hope people will embrace the value of just getting together for dinner, for drinks, having a party just because, inviting folks over for games or whatever.
Talking, not texting.
To where we are communing, we're eating, we're drinking, we're laughing, we're crying, we're listening to music, we're dancing, as opposed to living in isolation. I just think that more people are actually living far more isolated lives today than ever before.
I agree. But, you know, even in that, part of that isolation, I think when you talk about love, it has to be rooted in self-love, love of self.
Oh, yeah.
So when you have so much love for yourself, the overflow is what you offer to someone else. And I think the isolation teaches us to hate ourselves because you're comparing yourself to filtered versions of other people, to someone's highlight reel. So please, for God's sake, get off the phone. You know, like people are constantly like this consuming phone slop, and that makes us ignorant to what's happening to the world around us. But it also makes us fearful of traveling our own interior world. And this is Cole Arthur Riley. He says, if you can't be trusted to travel your own interior world, you can't be trusted in the world around you. So I hope this book also helps people self-reflect and move in the world with humility and kindness and grace for everybody. Folks, the book is Love Me, A Letter to Black Women in a Toxic Country, Career and Relationship by Tiffany Cross. Again, if you go to hatchetbookgroup.com, HACHETTE, bookgroup.com. You can pre-order. And again, you can pre-order the hardcover, the ebook, the audio book, download unabridged, or the trade paperback large print version as well. They're all right there. All of those sales count. And when you're a book author, you want sales, sales, sales. And so Tiffany wants you to have the cover, and you can have it there, and you can see how the colors mesh in the purple and the red, white, and blue. Buy that shit, okay? On any platform. Sale, sale, sale. Or as Frank Lucas said in American Gangster, I'm going to get that money. So get it however. Tiffany, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Love you, Ro. Thank you for having me.
Time for Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.